Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Benji from Nerf Herder Customs. I've got a really cool project that I did for a friend of mine. You guys know I have lots of work I do for Jesse at Kyberphonic Fonts. Really good friend of mine. Jesse and I have been friends for years, and I love doing stuff for him. He asked me to do up his blaster kit. So I've never done a blaster before. This is my first one, and it is one of his absolute favorites. This is the NN-11 blaster. NN-11, I think it's the NN-11 if I'm wrong. Sorry. So this is the Scavenger kit from Vader's Vault that he got. Jesse, I did you a little display stand just real quick to have something for your DTOF whenever you get it. What I would say is also I got the card in for your stunt, the TLJ stunt that he had me do. This thing is ugly. He loves those stunt hilts and whatnot. What I would do is when you get this stand, you these pegs are just in there just right now for just pressure, because I want to ship them. I don't want to ship it like this and it break, because they, you know, it's not the strongest stand in the world because it's so long and lanky and whatnot. But just if I were you, get some glue, drop it in there, plop them in, you're good to go. So, all right, this actually was a process. This was a project for me, man. I've never done a blaster before. I thought it would be easy. And it wasn't very easy. If I were to do another one, I would imagine it would go a lot smoother, but I had to figure this thing out. I had to do some research. I had to clean and weather. I had to design the chassis, the barrel, make sure everything fit, test fitting. I had to test design stuff, print, take this thing apart, test fit it, wouldn't work, take it apart, put it back together. I must have taken this blaster apart and together dozens of times. I know every one of these screws. They're very, very specific. Each one of these screws is a specific spot, so don't mix them up. You'll never have to do it. You'll never even have to really open this unless you want to change fonts, Jesse. But he had me weather this. I got a first attempt at heat staining with a paint gun. I went for well, he wanted it to be close to the picture that he sent me, as a little bit just blue. There's different versions from what I could tell, but if I was doing like natural heat staining, I would try to replicate it a little bit more on like a realistic heat staining for like my scrap flexes and stuff like that with aluminum, because this is aluminum. You can't just hit it with a blowtorch, it's not gonna do anything. But yeah, from the movie they just painted it like that anyway, so there you go. Got a little pixel in there, and it's hard to see, but I designed a little kind of like a blade plug in a way that sits in there and looks like a razor turbine. You got your wire down in here. Jesse wanted this to be hollow and with a wire going through. You can see that in the in a picture from set, I think. So again, this is tricky. This was something I had to, you know, get a little creative with on certain areas, because these doors, you get these two doors right here. This side is your auxiliary. I drilled in just enough to get an auxiliary switch, a little clicky auxiliary switch. This is obviously your trigger, and this is your kill switch, the hammer. And then on this side is the speaker vent. So what I did was I did some steel like perforated mesh that I use for a lot of chambers and different things, and I flattened it and put it behind there. Then I put another kind of black plastic screen over that to protect it even more, and to just make it look a little bit more, you know, like it's not an FX blaster, I guess. Really cool. The recharge port is right here in this barrel. You take this barrel off, this little nub or whatever, and that's your 2.1 millimeter recharge port. And you have an 18650 rechargeable battery in here, high drain, 15 amp, custom Saber Shop battery, and then a proffie board and a Smuggler's Outpost 28 millimeter dark side speaker. So yeah, I only put two fonts on here. The blade styles and the config and all that I thought would be easy again, and I struggled. I had Jeremy help me out with it. We were talking about it, and then I had Brian, who actually made the config for blasters and whatnot, his config and his all of the settings and everything. He helped me and walked me through it. I can't appreciate you dudes enough, because you know, I'm not the biggest knowledge department when it comes to proffie configurations and all that stuff, and really that's on me. I'm very simple. I just pew pew, you know, let's just get to blast or whatever. But I did have fun playing with it, and I'll show that a little bit whenever I take off the plate. But let's go ahead and boot this thing up. So you just slide the hammer back, and you've got the NN-14. This is a font that Jesse made for the blaster, just from a movie. There you go. It's a lot of fun, like straight up. So you can kind of see that turbine thing I designed in there. Oh yeah, 15 shots and then you're out, and then you just press auxiliary to reload. I didn't put any diffusion on those on that PCB ring that we got in there. It's not really a ring. It's like a little, there's like 12, 15, it's like a clock of LEDs. You can see it in there. I didn't put a diffusion on that because honestly that made it look a little bit toyish, and I kind of like the blinding muzzle flare. Oh, it's overheated. So it can overheat as well. That is something that was pretty cool. Originally, it's like it's set at 10%, I think, 10% random chance that it's gonna overheat. It was doing it kind of a little more than I liked, so I bumped it down to 1%, and it's been pretty good. You can overheat it if you really try, but for the most part, it's not gonna overheat. All right, that reloads. So when you, there's a lot more. I need to read the props file more, or where it tells you what everything does. Double click will change you to the next setting, like firing setting. So you have kill, which it will automatically always go to when you boot it on with a kill switch. Then you have auto fire, which obviously you hold down the trigger and it's just gonna fire until it overheats or it needs to reload. And then you double tap it again and you have stun. So let's go to the auto fire.
Auto fire.
It's overheating. She's overheating a lot. Let's go to, I mean, that's pretty much it. And then stun. Oh, whoops. Stun. There you go. And then kill. Back to kill. All right, press and hold for like a second or two, and you switch to the next font. I put the DL44 on here. I only got two because I didn't really want to mess with it at the time. I was like, that'll do. Jesse, if you want to add a lot, you can, obviously, but that's on you, buddy. So.
Bulky religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid.
Because why not, right? Whoop. See that wire in there? There was your battery. It'll flash a light, red, yellow, green, you know, battery level. This is your let's get back to the...
You might need this.
I think I can handle myself.
I know you do. That's why I'm giving it to you.
It is.
Take it.
It's a very cool blaster, man.
Ew.
All right, and then push that to go. Turn it off. All right, now let's get to the chassis. Okay, this was again, like I said, it was trial and error, man. It was really hard. So what I would do every time, you don't have to take off any other screws or any of that stuff. The only ones you'll ever really need to mess with are these four holding this this plate, the door, the chassis door or whatever. And so what I will do whenever I take it off and put it back on every time, do it like you're changing a tire. So you do like loosen this one, then loosen this one, then loosen this one, then loosen this one. So you're working like a cross pattern. That way you're not tightening down one side and possibly stripping out this stuff. So that's just the safest way, man. I would not crank one end all the way down and then try the other ones. These things strip your kind of shit out of luck, dude. So take your time, make sure that they are coming off easily. I'll kind of explain it a little bit more, I guess. Because these screws also are very specific. They're very specific lengths. So I already took one off, but this guy down here is right next to the recharge port, so it's going to be your shortest one. And now I'll send you probably, I have a ton of them, but the Smuggler's Outpost little like speaker holders when you buy a speaker. I'll send you some, but I always put my screws and all that stuff in there. That way I don't lose them, so I would suggest doing that also. These other screws are going to be about the same length, but again, work it in a zigzag or cross side, you'll be fine. One of the long screws goes into the barrel, so that one can strip if it's misaligned, but like I said, you're not taking this off, so this guy stays on. If you were to take these off as well, then this whole thing gets janky, out of line, and you get possible strip. So just kind of, I just turn it over and let it fall out, right? And then you got your door. And then here is the chassis that I came up with. So you'll probably never really see it. But I wanted to make it look cool, man, right? I mean, come on. That's pretty cool. Yeah, you got your proffie boards, the proffie 2.2 that I put there. You're probably going to try to give you some room, but you're probably, if you want to plug in your USB cable, you probably want to lift the board up. That's what I do. It's been really easy. This is just pressure fit back in. Just be careful, you know, push the sides in and make sure it's sitting down, recessed in there a good bit. Your speaker's right here behind all this. I tried to get it as clean as I could with that mesh screen. And it's held E6000 down there, so nothing's gonna move or fall out. Then you got this accent strip with a cover on it. That's also pressure fit, that's not gonna come out. And then I put Ray right there just because, I don't know, I thought it was fun stuff. I mean, how cool is that? There you go. And then this one, I just put a scroll on there. Just, again, like I said, you're never going to see it, but let's go to the DL44.
Smoky religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid.
And this has a different one. So this is your blade 1, this is your blade 2. Again, just something that was cool. I mean, just something that was cool, you know. Something extra for you.
You know how to use one of those?
Yeah, you pull the trigger.
A little bit more to it than that.
All right, and then, yeah, so pretty straightforward, man. And again, it's going to be super easy for you because the only time you'll ever need to really open it or mess with it is if you wanted to change your fonts on your config. So again, like I said, just keep these, make sure you don't lose them, and I'll send you the tool because these are safety torque nuts or whatever. So that's a specific tool to tighten these. So what I do is I go ahead and I put one in there. Usually I'll do this guy, this one, and then these other ones are about the same. They're the same length. So I'll do this one, and then I'll do this one up here in the top right corner. So there, then there, and just get it on to where you're like, okay, that's going in, and it's easy. Because if it feels kind of rough, you might be, you know, a little misaligned. But I don't think you will. I think you'll be all right. Because if you're doing it like this, then the plate is pretty centered. And again, you should be able to put them in. You should be able to put them in finger tight, like with your fingers at first. That's if you feel resistance, back it up. See, this is the one that I try to make sure doesn't strip or gets weird because it's like a floating one. So I'll tighten that one down, then I'll tighten this guy down. Then I'll go over to this guy, tighten that down, and then I'll come up to this guy. It's like an X, just tightening it down in an X pattern. And you don't need to crank. You just once you get to a certain spot, just boop. There you go, man. Thank you so much for being patient with me on it. I know you were stoked to get it, and it took a long time for me to iron it all out and get it working right, installed right. But it, you know, this is one of my more prouder builds. I'm very proud of this. This is a first for me. It's in the same wheelhouse, but also different learning process. But I hope you enjoy it. Thanks again, man. Thank you guys so much. I got a lot more coming, as always. Got a lot of stuff I'm working on, slowly but surely. But thank you for watching, and until next time, may the force be with you.
Stuck up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder.
Scruffy looking.